But this time we're going to invite Joyce Klopp to come. Hope at the Brickhouse. Just a week ago, Tuesday, I think it was, I was at the Hope at the Brickhouse fundraiser, and it was a wonderful event. I think you had like 240 people there as well. But we're going to invite Joyce to come up right now, and she's going to share a little bit about, as well as Cal. Cal's going to come.
You're not getting out of this.
No. Cal told me he'd be here to stand by her. Anyway, we're so appreciative of you folks and your ministry, and thank you so much. Share with us today.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yep.
Thank you, and we can't express enough thanks for the support that this church has been over the years, but I'm going to try to walk through a year and a half of not being here and catching up with where we've been. When COVID hit, we decided that we would try to get food to kids. When I called parents, let me back up. There's new faces here. Out of the foyer, if you have never heard of Hope at the Brickhouse, there's a brochure, and inside the brochure is basically what our ministry is, our after-school program, our summer program, and what we call Neighborhood Connections. And we're located in the central part of Davenport on the corner of 15th and Ripley, serving pretty much at-risk kids in that neighborhood as well as a little bit beyond. And so through those programs, giving them an opportunity for a place to go, but also sharing Christ, most importantly. Terry Kenwright is on our board and happens to be the board chairman right now, so he's been an integral part for many years. So when COVID hit, spring break week, I started calling parents, and parents were in tears. We had 12 out of 16 moms were essential healthcare workers in the hospitals or nursing homes, had no idea how they were going to get food for their kids. And so we said, well, let's see if we can deliver the food from the schools that were providing it. It took us a week to get through, fortunately only a week, to get through some bureaucracy of, no, you can't do it, the kids have to be there. And so I called the schools and told them what our situation was. And so Cal and I and a board member and another volunteer loaded up 2 minivans full of food and started with 30 kids, and within a week we had 80. Our 30 kids, we might have had 3, but they had 2 older ones and 1 younger one, and 3 turned to 7 and 2 turned to 5, and the little neighbor boy next door to somebody that we were delivering stuck his head out the door and said, "Can I get food too?" And how do you say no? And so within, and we were able to do that within an hour each day. So we did that 5 days a week through from March till June. And then in June, we just kind of looked at each other and said, we cannot build relationships in Christ's kingdom, which is what BRIC stands for, online. And so we decided that we were going to have a summer program and just keep our 25 kids that we'd had if they wanted to come. So we ran a summer program, got to the next school year, and we were online, hybrid, back and forth, and trying to figure out how to match the schedules of kids, when to open the door, how to help them in the best way that we could. Our college kids were online, so they were able to help us. So at some point, we just decided we're opening the door at 8:30 in the morning and closing at 5:30, and whenever you want to come, come. So we had kids all day long, and just helped parents who were working, could come and get them after they were done working. And then, so got through that school year, had another full-scale summer program where we then added kids. So this past summer, we had 50 kids again. And we pretty much were able to we split into 2 locations so that we were split up a little bit, and we were pretty much able to do what we've done throughout the summer, which we have some slides that will share more of the activity things. But then when the school year started, we usually lose half of those because of transportation or parents' schedules or whatever. We ended with 50 in the summer, and we started with 48 in the school year. So we have 48 kids on our roster and a little bit of come and go, but for the most part, pretty consistent with what they're doing right now, with what we're doing right now. So go ahead and start the slideshow, and I'm going to talk through some of the slides. We have a PowerPoint, but Out in the front of our building, if you've never been there, just a small group of our kids from the summer. Go ahead. This is our garage room, and for those of you that have been involved in the past, we had a garage with a man who'd been there for 40 years, and he retired and moved down south to take care of his mom. And so we remodeled the garage into a multi-purpose room. We were just finished remodeling that when COVID hit, so it was empty at the time, and we basically opened it up for a food pantry until we got going with programming so that parents could come in and get food. And we're not technically a food pantry most of the time, but we do provide food when people need it. But we kind of doubled our efforts during COVID and used that room for that. So the next picture also shows another corner of the room, so you can imagine that that's the room that is most liked in our building for the most part. Go ahead. This is a picture of summer programming. We do a meal every single Friday night, and in the summer, once a month, we do a block party. And fortunately had a large church that came together to help us. This is 9 Square in the Air, and go ahead. And those two pictures are both just activities during our summer program. So block off the street, have a lot of, had some cancellation this one summer and ended up with 15 stations of bubbles, which was a hit. So go ahead. Morgan is one of our staff from St. Ambrose, and I can just say that her passion is to share Christ with kids and that kids come to know Christ. And many times that's in a group situation, but she's not afraid to pull them aside one-on-one. So that's Morgan, also in our multipurpose room. Go ahead. Jim is a volunteer that helps us with the older group of kids as we split our kids K-3 and 4-6 grades, and does science-type things and activities with them. Go ahead. Paula is a volunteer who is a retired teacher and comes in and does reading once a week. Go ahead. This was a field trip, a first for many on a farm. So next picture is also the same. Many of them had never experienced farm up close. So go ahead. This is a local firefighter that came in, another part of summer programming with people coming in to share their testimony as well as their job and career. Always opportunities for that. So we were able to get a grant. This is our playground. This is also Jim laying on the ground as he had shared a message about forgiveness and anger. The balloons are filled with water, and they were letting go of their anger at Mr. Jim. So. Go ahead. We had the opportunity to go to the Wapsie Pumpkin Patch just a few weeks ago, and this was a highlight for our kids. Go ahead. There's 2 or 3 of those. The last little girl, Imani, has one of the groups that we've come in contact with is a dance group, and 2 of our girls are joining a group to dance and are going to be at the Festival of Trees with, happens to be the Imani dance group, and her name is Imani, which she found out meant women of faith. So go ahead. Tim is a staff person that's taught our kids to play chess and talk to them about making wise decisions and how to strategize in making decisions along with the game. So go ahead. Morgan, again, helping with homework. We do slip a little homework in there if possible. Go ahead. And this picture and the next one is just examples of kids. In the back, there is a whole paper of all of our kids that you can take and pray for. There's also individual prayer bookmarks with each kid's picture on them, a way that you can pray for kids. Sign up to pray. Please put your name and your email so I can keep in contact if you're interested in something like that. Just Christmas time, we do angel tree with the kids. So this is last Christmas, obviously. Go ahead. Just finished our banquet. That was just this year, and we did have over 200 people there, and the banquet ended with the next picture of our kids being able to sing 2 praise songs, and Katie is someone who comes in and shares every week and has taught them praise and worship. So that's been a huge blessing this year. and that is a close-up. And Cal's going to share just real briefly a couple things that are coming up in the future.
Thank you for inviting us. It's great to be back with you. Along with the formal programs of after school and summer with children, we have a significant amount of community outreach that we are doing. And so as we know, the Bible tells us that we think we're facing facing physical issues, but the roots are those that are spiritual. So a couple things that we become involved in is help start, actually. One is a little not well-known organization. It's not an organization, it's a grouping of people interested in the central Davenport neighborhoods called Davenport Peace. And that started with a small group of us at the police station with some police officers and a pastor. And so now we have, on the last Thursday of every month, basically a prayer group at the community room in the police station where we pray, and we have it somewhat facilitated by a pastor, but it's not. So we have some other pastors, some clergy, and some people from the police station. So we gather and have a little devotional time and pray together. We have a neighborhood meeting gathering on Friday nights where we provide a meal for anybody who wants to come. We're outreaching now. One thing we've discovered with the children we serve is kindergarten through 6th grade, is that as they get older, it's very interesting to observe when they come into our program in kindergarten and 1st, 2nd grade, they're pretty moldable and flexible and go with our programs. And then when they get a little older, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, some start thinking they know more than we do. Anybody ever experienced that? Of course. So we're linking up with a group that's a fairly new nonprofit called Lives of Legacy, and it was started in 2019, and it's a little bit of an outgrowth of Youth Hope in the Illinois side. So they're organized to serve more the 7th grade on up through high school, and they meet at a former school building in Davenport called the Lincoln Elementary, and now it's called Lincoln Center. And so that is facilitated by people that are ministering to, and Chick-fil-A, the owner of Chick-fil-A has a significant role in that. So we are starting to transition one day a week, afternoon on Mondays, taking our children, the 4th through 6th graders, to that program with hopes that the formal program that Lives of Legacy has will be good for them as they grow into that age, and also hopefully if our 4th through 6th graders see some older children that are youth that are trying to do things better spiritually, that they'll be kind of mentors for them. So that's a little summary of kind of where we are with the neighborhoods. And it's easy to become critical and downtrodden a bit with some of the things that are happening in the news, but we know that the issues are spiritual. And one of the scriptures I like to think about is the one that says, "Not by might, not by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord." And that's kind of where we are with our outreach.
Thank you.